Hey everyone, it's Brad and Josh here, and we welcome you to We'll Bring the Popcorn, the ultimate film and TV podcast.
So now I want to move us into our movie review this week. We have the unrated version of the Toxic Avenger, which hit theaters this week, and it stars Peter Dinklage as Winston, the Toxic Avenger himself, and I gotta say, man, it's unrated for a reason. They do some wild stuff in this movie. There's not a lot for the rating of our show that we could do to talk about specifics of this movie to kind of keep it at the content level that we want it to, but woo, this film was something.
Yeah, this was a wild ride. So, a little bit of history about the Toxic Avenger. It first debuted back in 1984. There's been 4 films altogether. They're B movies. You know, they're kind of the classic B movie. If you're looking for a gory horror comedy with a little bit more on top of that these are ones you went to. Like, it's had a big popularity since, and the last one came out in 2000, with the original one coming out in 84. So it's been quite a few years since we had a Toxic Avenger film. This is the first like Hollywood Toxic Avenger film that they've done, and it was completed back in 2023. It took them several years to find a distributor that would actually put it out, and yeah, it was wild. I will say it's wild, but it's also going back and revisiting some of the original ones. It's probably the tamest out of all of them, and it was still pretty wild to be that tame. But yeah, the main story this time around, because with the original ones, Winston, the Toxic Avenger, was a very dorky, geeky, over the top, just how dorky guy he was. And you get that with Peter Dinklage's version here, but it's more a story about a father who's trying to do right by his son while he's also dealing with some health issues and everything else. So he's a stepfather to Wade because the mother passed away. But we're dealing with BTH here, which Kevin Bacon plays the main villain. He's the head of BTH. It's comical, this factory that they have that Winston is a janitor at, that there's so many things going wrong and people screaming and just vats of toxic waste just sitting around while he's mopping things up and stuff. But it definitely tries to lean more into getting a touching story about a father and a son while also being ridiculously over the top.
Yeah, I mean, the violence is prevalent in this film, and it's just met with just this really dark humor that just is, pervasive throughout this film. And I can't talk about specific plot points just because it's so crazy. Like, at the heart of the story, it's Peter Dinklage having the health issues that he has. He's got this brain issue that gives him a very finite window of time to live in. And in his desperation, goes to this big black tie gala event that, his boss, Kevin Bacon, is, at, and basically pleads his case to help because through, bureaucratic reasons, and we've all dealt with some, BS insurance stuff, like his insurance company, despite the fact that he pays for a higher tier of insurance, won't cover his specific condition that's one of the lower tiers. Like, it was just that conversation of him trying to talk to this
I don't know what
the insurance representative was just so funny and so relatable. But yeah, they just won't cover his condition, the medication that he needs. And he goes and pleads his case directly to the CEO of the company. He's like, hey, I'm this loyal employee. I've worked for you for, 20 years, just a model employee, and the insurance won't help. Is there anything you can do? And they kind of like, being the smarmy public-facing person that Kevin Bacon is, his character is, he's like, yeah, we'll take care of you. We'll do right by you. We got you. We'll take care of you. And then they shoo him off and like lock him out of the room and just kind of make fun of him. And he hears this and it just sets him off. And it just goes on this, this rampage of events that happens beyond that, it just gets more absurd after that. And it's as gory as you can imagine it is. It's ramped up even beyond that, because once he starts going on this rampage and he turns into the Toxic Avenger, you get just some wild over the top stuff. And it was definitely a ride on this one for sure.
Yeah, I would say that I actually wanted to see a little bit more action out of it. Like, the sequence that it had was fun and crazy and over the top and very violent and gory, like really violent and gory. But they were 1 to 2 minutes long. They weren't very long sequences. Even the final sequence was kind of broken up in pieces. And you've got to know that this movie approaches itself knowing that it's a reboot of a B movie. It's poking fun at itself. It almost feels Naked Gun level type of parody that it's very aware of itself and that it was a bad B movie that everyone enjoyed and stuff. So there's a lot of, crazy jokes. There's a lot of different jokes about modern day issues and stuff. And yeah, you do get like one thing that I was a little surprised about was Elijah Wood in this because he looks like the Penguin.
Yeah, very much.
But he's actually got this just subtle, serious type of tone to him throughout the movie that you actually got like, okay, he actually kind of gave the best performance throughout the entire movie, which again, they're all doing over the top stuff but it was really interesting to see just kind of how serious they kept his character. He's the brother of Bob, of Kevin Bacon's character, who's kind of tasked with doing all the dirty work for him. So Winston ends up being one of those dirty works that he needs to be done. So he manages a rock band that ends up being the crew that is going out to take out everybody. And it's just ridiculous. You got one guy who just he won't stop flipping and doing parkour and stuff. It's so stupid. And there's just such ridiculousness with that one, especially towards the end, that just had me laughing so hard because, oh no, I can't stop flipping. And then whatever happens was like, oh, geez, it is over the top, but actually in a good way. Like, I had a fun time with this. It is ridiculous, over the top. I mean, it tries its best to give you a decent enough story. I feel like some characters were a little, maybe they didn't know what to do with them, because you get a side female character, JJ, who she's trying to get information out, working for a reporter, with a reporter, and is trying to expose all the toxic stuff that BTH is doing. Yeah. But after, the initial part of it, she's just kind of a tag along after a while. There's not a whole lot given to her after that. But yeah, it gives me some scenes that I wasn't really expecting that I would ever see. And I'll probably never look at helicopters the same way ever again.
Never, ever, ever. Never looking at helicopters the same way. There's one scene in particular with her that just makes me laugh to go back and think about. It's when they show up at the compound at Bob's house and trying to create a distraction for the guards, and she's like trying to play up. He's like, oh, I'm this attractive girl and I'm gonna distract him with my looks, and it just goes in a way you don't expect it to go. And then you got Peter Dinklage like,
really that worked really well. It didn't. Like,
yeah, it was so funny. It was like, it's absurd. It's very dark humor, and very dark. It works. It works for the type of film that they made, and you could very clearly tell that this is a B-level type, film, elevated with a little bit more money than they're used to having behind it, but it's still very much in a B-tier kind of like style, and it works for this film. I don't know why it works, but like, we had a blast. We had an absolute blast watching it. Like, we knew it was going to be absurd. We weren't ready for how absurd it got at times, but I mean, it was still fun. Like, you're not looking for a life-changing film when you're going to see the Toxic Avenger. Well, you kind of know what you get going into it, and I think it met those expectations.
Yeah, Peter Dinklage was really enjoyable, and you had a bunch of different gags. Like, he's talking to the doctor, but they're doing construction outside, so most of the stuff that's being said is you can't hear because of the construction, and that happens multiple times with this doc. And the doctor is so nonchalant. And like, there's one point where Peter Dinklage's character asks him a question. He's like, "What is that?" It's like, "Oh, it's a sandwich." And like, no, like, you're trying to tell me very some slapstick medical information, and you're telling me about your sandwich. Like, there's some very slapstick moments, and I think Peter Dinklage did fine in it. He was, trying to get that awkward, geeky type of guy, but more of the just rundown, hard on his luck, like just struggling to do right, because he's the stepfather to Wade. He's not the dad, and he's trying to do his best by the kid who's a bit quirky and weird and out there, and just working as a janitor and having his struggles and everything else too. But I could tell at times, because they did come out and admit that a lot of the times as Toxie, it wasn't him. It was, I believe it was a female double that was playing Toxie. And you could kind of tell when when it was being dubbed over that it wasn't him in there, especially when you looked at the one good eye. Like, I didn't really care for what they did with the second eye, which was always the droopy eye. They kind of made it more of like almost looked like it was an electronic eye, which didn't fully work for me on there. Like, they had some good gags with it and stuff, but it just looked overly fake on the face the whole time. And the prosthetics overall for Toxie looked pretty good of what they tried to do with it, but there's a couple little nitpicky things. Even though it's a B movie being brought into a Hollywood film, like, you're not going to nitpick that much, but it was a couple things I was like, okay, that took me out. And I love the random guy out in the woods and the humor that brought with that, of just how nonchalant, like, Toxie ends up needing to come see him because someone's hurt and he's trying to get help, and the guy's like just roasting a marshmallow or a hot dog. He's doing something with fire. He's like, "You're a doctor, like, help." He's like, "Who told you I'm a doctor? You did?" He had no recollection that he did it. Like, it's got that silliness to it.
So silly. We were laughing at several moments in this film for sure. Like, we can't go too much into it because it's vulgar, it's violent. It's a lot of fun if you're into that particular genre of film, like just this horror comedy, action, graphic, vulgar type stuff. Like, I think this film will be right up your alley if you're into that sort of thing.
Yeah, and like I said, I end up having a lot of fun with it. I wasn't sure going in because, the original Toxic Avenger films have been crazy and over the top. It's hard to describe them because they're so all over the place. They even go into areas that this one didn't really go into, because there's a lot of sex and other stuff that happens in the Toxic Avenger. It's not so much in this one that you get that kind of stuff with it. It's more about the violence. As you're trying to tell a little more grounded story in an insane type of world. And Kevin Bacon was fun. He was over the top. Like, it was a little bit crazy there, but it was fun. I had a good time watching it. It's not the best movie you're ever going to see. It's going to be lower on the scale of just about everything, but it's one you can go into if you like gore, horror, comedies. You're going to have a fun time with it, I think. Like, it's absurd. You're going to laugh at all the ridiculousness of it, especially like the big chicken guy and what happens there. And our whole theater was just losing their minds a bit laughing at that. Like, so ridiculous, so over the top, but it's something I had a lot of fun with. Like, it was an enjoyable time in the theater.
Yeah, for sure. We had an absolute blast with it. It was just fun. It's not gonna win any awards or anything, but it's definitely a film that we had a lot of fun with. I don't know how high I'm gonna rate it just yet. Like, I'm still kind of pondering back and forth between a couple numbers, but man, it just it had so many absurd moments that just made me laugh, but it's ones that are just like, what are we doing in this movie?
Like, what are we? What, really? You went there?
Yeah, you went there. It's as absurd as you think it would be.
You also had a lot of people who just didn't want to die in the movie, which just added to the absurdity and fun of it, because there's some gruesome deaths, but they're still like hanging on somehow, and you're just laughing at the absurdity of that. Like, I don't know why it always still goes back to me with Paul Rubens in the Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie, of him being a vampire who gets stabbed with a stake, but he just absolutely refuses to die. And you have those type of deaths in this movie, like, they just will not die.
Yeah, and right out of the gate they laid the groundwork for that with the guy that got shot multiple times and kept cussing at him and getting back up before he was harpooned to death. I'll take one spoiler into it there for you, but it was just, I looked at that, I'm like, okay, I know exactly the type of film that we're in for here, and just go along for the ride and enjoy it for sure.
Yeah, they set your expectations early, especially even with just the voiceover intro and how they started. Like, they let you know going into it, this is still a wild and crazy, over the top Toxic Avenger movie.
Yeah, so the Toxic Avenger is a film that any expectations you can have for it, set your expectations low for it. Just know going in that you're going to get this over-the-top, crazy, vulgar, violent film. It's unrated for a reason. Like, they go to some pretty hardcore lengths with the violence and the vulgarity in it, and just know that if you know that going in, it's not a film meant for kids, you're still going to have a good time. I'm going to land on giving it a 6 out of 10. Like, it's not the best film you're going to see, but if you know going in that it's going to be vulgar and violent and just set your morals kind of to the side, you're going to have a good time with it. But I'm giving it a 6 out of 10. It's a fun film. I've seen it. I don't know if I'll ever go back and revisit it, so it's going to score a little lower for that, but I still had a good time watching it, man. I'm going to line, I think a 6 is a good, solid rating for this movie.
Yeah, it's wild, crazy, over the top, but as I mentioned earlier, it is kind of a little bit tamer than the original. So if you're going in expecting the exact same that you got from the first 4, there might be some that are a little disappointed by that, but it has the uber violence. It has a lot of slapstick humor in it. It was, in the end, a lot of fun. I'm going to give it a 6.5 just because I had a lot of laughs and fun out of it. It's not a good movie as the others weren't, but it gave me entertainment, which made it be a lot of fun to me. Like, I was laughing so much at so many different things, whether they wanted me to laugh at it or not, but for the most part, you know that they wanted you to laugh at it because they don't take themselves seriously at all in here. But it's very gory, very violent, plenty of humor and stuff to it. It's a bit different than the others, but I had a fun time in the end with it.
Yeah, it's very entertaining, don't get me wrong, but this is very much intended for a very niche audience who loves, but it leans into the fact that they know they're making a movie for a very niche audience. And I think they're successful with that. I think if you're into that type of film, you're going to like it. I think you'll have a good time with it. Like I said, it doesn't have a high amount of rewatchability for me. I've seen it. I don't know if I'll go back to it at any certain
I probably
point.
will because I had so much fun with
Sure, and that's fine with it, but definitely a movie that doesn't take itself so seriously. The Toxic Avenger is in theaters now. Go check it out. Come to our YouTube comments. Let us know if you've seen it. I don't know how long it's going to be in the theaters. It took 2 years to finally get it out. We finally got the film out there, so I'm thankful that it gets at least a little bit of a run in theaters. But come to our Discord. Come to our YouTube comments. If you see it, check it out. Let us know what you think. To find all of the episodes of We'll Bring the Popcorn, go to our YouTube page, hit the like and subscription button so you're getting our episodes when they drop each and every Monday. If you're listening to us in the audio room on any of the podcasting platforms that we're on, please don't forget to give us a 5-star review. It really helps elevate the profile of the show. And don't forget to go to willbringthepopcorn.com, where it has all of our archive videos, all of our social media information, as well as our merch store, so you continue to support the show in that way. We cannot thank you enough for your continued support.